more than happy. I've got here for the earrings is my 2 ear wires. I've cut them at 12mm long, anything between, oh, I don't know, 11 and 14, depending on your customer, depending on you. But I prefer 12mm, that's my preferred length. It's 0.8 wire. I actually prefer it a little bit thicker. I haven't got any 0.9. I do have a 1mm, which I have used in the past, and it's worked very successfully. But 1mm is actually too big for some people's piercing. So for this project, I've got 0.8, and what I've a 12mm long, and what I've done is where are you? I've actually filed one end flat, and the end I've filed flat, I've marked on both of them with a Sharpie marker. So that's our ear wires ready to go. And what I've got under there is, let me just put those down. This is my earring. What I've done is marked a hole, put a mark where I want my earring post to go. Now, different people have it. There's no right and wrong here. It's whatever suits you. I've got friends that make a little ball at the end of the wire and then file it flat, so it makes a bigger surface on the end of the wire. But the way I was taught, which is the way I'm going to carry on doing, is to just drill a tiny little divot where you want your earring post to go. Just drill that in there, and then you can hopefully place your ear wire for soldering in a nice neat little dip that will also give more area for the ear wire to sit. So that's the way I'm going to do it. I do prefer a ball burr, but I don't have a ball burr that's 8mm. I haven't got one that small. So I'm going to use an 8mm drill and drill just, I mean, it really doesn't matter whether it's a drill or a ball burr. What we're interested in is just getting that little divot for the ear wire to sit in. So let's get that done. I've got both my earrings here. Tell you what I'm going to do is turn that round the other way, and then there's more for me to hold on to. Don't know why I didn't do that before, because I wasn't thinking. So I've put some lubrication on the drill, switch it on, and off we go. Okay, that's all it takes. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a lovely little dip there for the ear wire. Oh, there, that's probably better for you, better angle. A nice little dip for the ear wire to go into. So we're going to do the same on this one. Get this settled. Oh, some people do put a little indentation for the drill to go into. With a small drill like this and only going so that little bit, I don't find it necessary. But if you want to put a little dip with a centre punch on there, you can do for somewhere to line your drill up with. There we are. Nice little hole for the wire to go in. So let's go over to the soldering station and we'll... Right, we've got that set up now. We've got flux on the earring into the little divot. We've got flux on the post. I've got this all set up so that that ear wire is actually sitting in the little dip that we've made with the drill, and there's a little piece of hard solder by the side of that post. I'm not sure if you can see that. So what we're going to do now is heat this up, and I'm going to obviously concentrate on the heavy piece of silver at the bottom and hope that the residual heat will well, I won't hope, it will. When this gets hot enough, the residual heat will have gone up to that fine ear wire and the solder will flow. So that's what we're going to do next. Just go steady going in so that that flux doesn't jump out of, that solder doesn't jump out of place when the flux bubbles up, but it's all in place now. So there we go. So it's quite a nice little chunk for a little, I suppose you'd call it a stud earring really, but it's quite a chunky little stud earring, which is hopefully going to be really nice. So we're concentrating on this this piece at the bottom. Flux is beginning to look a bit glassy, so it won't be long now, that's a sure way. But if you notice, I am keeping this flame right away from that ear wire because it won't take a lot to melt the ear wire. Of course, these tweezers will be a heat sink on the ear wire, which is actually a help in this case because we don't want that ear wire to get too hot. If we just heat the tweezers a little bit and help ourselves a little bit here. There it is. Now it's flowing. Just a little bit more. Make sure it's gone all the way around. There we go. Right. Let's have a look. Normally stuck to the pliers, to the tweezers I mean. There we go. Right, so that has soldered on. Looks a bit messy at the moment. We're going to quench it, pickle it, do the other one, and then I will come back to you. Right, we're nearly there with the ear wires. What we need to do next is, obviously this is a very, very sharp point where we've cut that off. So several things you can do. This is a bit bright, isn't it? There's that. Several things we can do with this. We can take a little bit of sandpaper, round it off. We can get a cut burr, which is a burr with as it says on the tin, it's a little cup at the end of the burr, and it has blades in it, and you can put that in your micromotor, Fordham, whatever you've got, and press it onto the end, and that will go round and do that. And even if you haven't got a motor of any kind, you can still get a cut burr and just twist it round with your fingers and it will do it. Or you can use a little bit of sandpaper, which works perfectly well, like that, and just keep going and until it's rounded off and nice, and it doesn't stick into you. But also there's another thing, if you've got, and this is a very old one, but if you've got any of these old nail file blocks, they work really well. because they don't take too much off. They're quite gentle, and you can give it a good old going over and work up the grits, etc. Excuse me. Right, it's the dust getting in my throat. So that's that. The next thing is, oh, by the way, one thing I must tell you is I compared my ear wire to the ear wire on the earrings that I wear most days, and it was actually too long. Not that that's a problem. Much better being too long than too short. It gives you room to hold with your tweezers when you're soldering, etc. So I have taken off here 2.5 millimeters. So that's what it looks like now. So I've taken off 2.5 millimeters from what we started, which I think was 12. Now, on the earring post that you buy, you have a little ridge in the end, or just in from the end, where you can, it stops your butterfly. It's somewhere for your butterfly to rest to stop it flying off the end. Now, I am so sorry, I've got dust in my throat. Again, several ways to do this. There's no right or wrong. You have to do whichever suits you. I was taught to do this. I've got a little pair of round nose pliers, and you go to just near the end there. You can always measure it on a pair you've already got. So you twist it and squeeze it, twist it and squeeze it, twist it and squeeze it, until you've got a nice ridge at the end. And if you keep working on that, start off gently. You don't want too big a ridge in that. So start off gently and go like that. What you can also do, I don't know if you can see that, but there's if I run that down, there's a nice little ridge down there that we can it's got us started. What some people do, and there's nothing wrong with this, is to get your saw and very gently. I mean, you can do this on your bench peg, but in my opinion, you've got to be very careful doing it on your bench peg, because you don't want to put too much pressure on it. But you can just run that saw blade just into the groove that you've made with your round nose pliers, very gently. What you don't want to do is make this weak so that little end piece falls off. So that's it. In fact, sometimes going backwards. And then if you get a little bit of fold, you can use a file, but I think a file, well, if you know what you're doing, you can use a file. I'm a bit scared of the file because I think it's a little bit too harsh, but you can get your little bit of folded over sandpaper, go into that ridge and make a nice neat job of it. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's my little notch, and I'll do the same on the other one. Right, now, because we've soldered these on, this little wire is not very strong. It will bend. It won't take much wear at all. Now, there are also, I think, several ways of doing this, but today I'm going to show you the way I was taught. And I was taught, and there's one thing, I was terrified the first time I did this. Oh, my light's gone off. I was terrified the first time I did this because I thought I was going to pull it off. But it certainly tests your soldering skills. But what you do is you get your flat pliers, parallel pliers, whatever you've got, hold the end, and as you twist, pull, because what that'll do is it will harden it and it will straighten it at the same time. So we pull, we twist, move that around, we pull, we twist, And that isn't going anywhere. That soldering is holding fine. And to be honest, it's a good test because you don't want to let anything go to someone else, be it a gift or a purchase from somebody. You want to make sure your soldering, it is on there pretty well. So, again, pull and twist. Pull and twist. Pull and twist. And now, that, you can possibly, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's no give in that at all. That's perfectly serviceable for everyday wear, and that's just not going to bend. I'm putting quite a lot of pressure on that. As you can see, it's not going anywhere. So, just to set the stones now. And then we've got a nice pair of earrings, hopefully, all finished off. So that's your ear wires, and I hope that's been of help to you. I like the idea of this little notch. What I'll do now is, now I've had the pliers on it, stretching it and pulling it, I will just go and tidy up my little notch there with my round nose pliers. Yeah, we've got a nice little stud earring there. Okay, so we'll go on to polishing up, finishing off, tidying up any little bits of solder on the back. There's not much, don't use a lot of solder for that. And then we're ready to set the stones. So we'll be back shortly. So there we are, all finished, pretty little earrings, lovely ring, and there's the pendant in all its glory. I am going to make a different pendant now. I'm going to make one without the circle on the back, so I will actually come back and show you that. But there they are. If I can get the light right so you can see them properly. But yeah, I'm very pleased with it. Here we are, all finished. There's a different pendant to go with the ring and earrings. That's not got the circle on it. In fact, that probably matches a little bit better. Sorry for wobbling about. That probably matches a tiny bit better. Yeah, pleased with that. Onwards and upwards, and we see what we get on to next. Thank you ever so much for watching.